This is Portland, Oregon. Serving a population of 1.8 million people, a network of light rail and commuter rail lines connects this U.S. city, servicing 99 stations across 3 counties. Consisting of 6 rail lines and 62 miles of track, the system travels across the Rose City, with trades radiating from downtown streets to suburban destinations. But how did the system grow from its original stations to the network it is today? My name's Zach, and this is the evolution of the network. Portland's modern transit network began to be developed in December 1977, with the opening of the Portland Mall. Running south along 5th Avenue and north along 6th Avenue, the roadways were open to buses and pedestrians only, extending from Burnside Street in the north to Madison Street in the south. 9 years later, in September 1986, Portland's first light rail line was opened, running from downtown east to Cleveland Avenue. The line serviced 27 new stations, including 6 stations in a one-way loop through the downtown core. In order to provide more convenient access to the Portland Transit Mall, 2 infill stations were opened on the light rail network in March 1990, with stops at 4th and 5th Avenues providing nearby access to the mall. 5 months later in September, an additional infill station was opened east of the Willamette River, with trains servicing the new Oregon Convention Center, which had recently opened nearby. Seeing the success of the Portland Mall, the dedicated roadway was extended further north in June 1994, connecting directly to Portland's Union Station at Irving Street. At the same time, Coliseum Station on the light rail network was renamed to Rose Quarter, reflecting the name of the surrounding neighborhood. Light rail service was extended further west in downtown Portland in August 1997, with 3 additional stations opening west to Kings Hill Salmon. The extension included 2 one-way stops at Civic Stadium, providing light rail service to this popular sporting venue. 1 year later, in September 1998, light rail service was extended further west once again, adding 18 additional stations to Hatfield Government Center. The extension includes the first underground section through Washington Park Station, with the stop itself being the deepest in North America. In 2000, the light rail line was rebranded as the Blue Line, in preparation for a second line being added to the network. 1 year later, in September 2001, the Red Line was launched, providing service from downtown Portland to the Portland International Airport. Red Line serviced 3 new stops from Portland Airport to Gateway 99th, before following the Blue Line downtown to Galleria 10th. At the same time, Civic Stadium Station on the Blue Line was renamed, now being known as PGE Park. High ridership on the western segment of the Blue Line resulted in the Red Line being extended west along this part of the network, with trains being extended to Beaverton Transit Center in September 2003. The following year in May, Portland's third light rail line began service north to the Portland Expo Center. Starting downtown at Library 9th, the yellow line followed the blue and red lines north to Old Town Chinatown, before branching off north to service 10 new stations. The Portland Aerial Tramway was opened 2 years later in December 2006, running between the South Waterfront and Markham Hill. 1 month later, in January 2007, an infill station was opened on the Red Line, with trains now stopping at Cascades. Commuter rail service in Portland began 2 years later in February 2009, with trains starting on the Westside Express service. Meeting with the blue and red lines at Beaverton Transit Center, the line ran south to Wilsonville, serving 3 intermediate stops. At the same time, North Portland Station on the yellow line was renamed, now being known as Rosa Parks. Light rail tracks were added to the Portland Transit Mall in August 2009, rerouting yellow line trains from Interstate Rose Quarter. 12 new stations were serviced along the mall, with buses continuing to run on the mall alongside the trains. A 4th light rail line was also inaugurated the following month in September, with the Green Line beginning service. Starting from the Portland Transit Mall, the line followed the yellow, blue, and red lines to Gateway 99th, before servicing 8 new stops south to Clackamas Town Center. An infill station opened on the eastern leg of the Blue Line in December 2010, with trains now stopping at Civic Drive. In downtown, PGE Park Station was renamed once again in 2011, now being known as Gerald Wen Field. 2 infill stations were opened at the south end of the Portland Transit Mall in September 2012, with green and yellow line trains servicing stops at College and Jackson. 2 years later, in 2014, Jeld-Wen Field Station was renamed once again, taking its present station name of Providence Park. A fifth light rail line was inaugurated in September 2015, bringing light rail service to areas south of downtown. Continuing south from the Portland Transit Mall, the Orange Line serviced 10 new stations to Southeast Park, crossing the Willamette River on a transit and pedestrian-only bridge. The Orange Line interlined with the Yellow Line through downtown, with Orange Line trains running south along the Transit Mall and Yellow Line trains running north. 2 years later, in September 2017, 2 stations on the western branch of the Blue Line were renamed, with the names for Orenco 231st and Quatama 205th being simplified. As part of an initiative to speed up trains through downtown, 3 light rail stations were closed in March 2020. On the red and blue lines, the 2 stations at the Portland Transit Mall were closed, along with Kings Hill Salmon Station further west. This brings us to the Portland Light Rail and Commuter Rail map that we know today. In the years to come, minor expansions are planned for the Portland Light Rail network, which will improve service frequencies on parts of the system. In 2024, the Red Line will be extended west along the Blue Line, making 10 additional stops to Fair Complex Hillsborough Airport. That was the evolution of Portland's light rail and commuter rail network, giving us the 6 lines that we know today. If you haven't already, be sure to watch our evolution of the network videos on other American cities, which you can access by clicking the button in the top right corner. Don't forget to leave a like if you enjoyed this video, and comment down below to join in the discussion. My name's Zach, and I'll be vanishing underground until the next one.